looks like we're kind of steady. We can start off, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the RV Women's Alliance Women's History Month series of inspirational and leaders in their fields. And this week we have our subject is OEMs, and we have Kelly Mosier from Forest River, Michelle McDermott from Thor Industries, and Brittany Raderstorff.
Raderstorff.
Close, darn it. This is my weaknesses.
It's okay.
And she's from Brinkley RV. And these are very inspirational women, and we're very happy to have you here today. Thank you very much for joining us. And I'd like just to have each one of you kind of go around and talk about yourselves. Tell me, what your role is, who your employer is, and a brief overview of the path that you lead in the RV industry today. We'll start with you, Kelly.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kelly Mosier. I work at Forest River as the customer service training manager. I started in the industry almost 21 years ago. I worked at a grocery store. One of my friends said, "Hey, I got this great company that I work for. Are you interested?" And I was like, the opportunity to make more money was always available in the RV industry. So I kind of popped in and started at the bottom of the warranty department. And I worked at Rockwood Flagstaff, one of our divisions, for almost 14 years. And during that time, I was all about standardization and trying to get people the resources that they needed. So finally, my kind of pleading and begging ended up helping me develop this new position that I'm in, which was non-existent before, with the support of some of my supervisors. So definitely been an interesting path, but I love it.
Fantastic. Made your own position. That's hard to do. That's amazing. Yep. And we're going to hand that over to Michelle now.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you to RVWA for inviting me here. I'm Michelle McDermott. I'm the CHRO for Thor Industries. I have been in human resources for over 30 years. The industries I've been in predominantly have been transportation, both waste hauling and student transportation, which is an interesting industry. Also third-party logistics, a very large North American 3PL, and also the insurance industry. And my journey to find the RV industry was interesting because I've been a native of Chicagoland my whole life. And during COVID, we purchased a weekend cottage in Michigan. And for the last 5 years, we've been coming to Michigan every weekend. And the Thor job, came my way, the opportunity to be at Thor. And they wanted to know if I could relocate to Elkhart, Indiana. And I'm like, I already live there, half the time. So it was sort of serendipitous that where we wanted to be and what I was looking for lined up with what Thor was looking for. And I'm so grateful. Sometimes I've been there just over a year, just so everyone, I'm fairly new to RV, about a little over a year.
Fantastic. Well, welcome. And
Thank you.
Last but not least, Brittany.
Hi, I'm Brittany. I'm with Brinkley RV. I've been here a little over a year as well, but I've got about 10 years of experience in the RV industry. So my role here is like a hybrid of social media and customer service together. A lot of my previous roles in the industry were in marketing positions and a lot of like sales support in a marketing aspect. So this is kind of a unique adventure, and I am enjoying it very much so. I got started in the RV industry just responding to a job ad when I was getting ready to graduate college. I'm not from the Elkhart area. I didn't know anything about RVs heading into it, but I was very grateful that they were willing to take someone fresh out of college, take a chance on me, teach me, and it was a great opportunity. So I fell in love with the industry right away. And I was working for, I think, 8 or 9 years. And then I took actually a few years off, and we took an RV and traveled across the country. And, my husband joined the military, so we made some life changes in there. And then just over that year ago, got a call from a former coworker, and that brought me back to the industry. And I am very glad to be here. So
Well, welcome. I do remember you from when you were before and then now after.
yeah, yes.
So I have a list of questions for you, and we're going to start with you, Michelle. What qualities make a great leader in the RV industry, do you think?
You know, in the time I've been here, I've learned, and many of you probably already know, how ever-changing the industry is and how, unpredictable. So I think because of that, resilience is an important quality, that you have to be able to adapt and handle the changes as they come. And I think in conjunction with that, being resilient kind of isn't enough. I think during all of these changes, you have to have resilience, but also a bit of vision. You have to be able to see past the ups and downs and look out. I know it's so hard. So many people are like, I can't predict past the next 90 days. You know, it's kind of like a common thing that I hear, but I think you have to force yourself to look past the variability and the uncertainty and have a plan anyway. So resilience and vision, I think, are so important in this industry because of that cyclicality that it has.
It is definitely a challenge, for sure. Kelly, would you like to answer this question?
Absolutely. So I'll add to Michelle. I was thinking vision as well, because sometimes you don't always, it's hard to look past the day-to-day or the immediate future. But I think when you have a vision for something bigger than the problems that the industry faces, or the highs and lows of it, you can really find where your niche is, and where you can actually develop people and be a great leader. But I would also say that being a servant leader is important. And I used to not think that. I mean, as I've grown in the RV industry, I probably was very selfish at the beginning and maybe was not a great leader, but I really tried to be a servant of the customers that I am taking care of. So that means all of our internal customers are my coworkers, my colleagues across the board, but really trying to look out for what their needs are and making sure that I try and address those. So I think servant leadership is a huge one. And I would also say persistence. So sometimes, because the industry is a little bit behind the times, we're not always up to speed where we need to be. And so if you are a little more persistent, you can kind of, get the leadership of the company and yourself to the place that you need to be in order to help others.
Good answer. How about you, Brittany?
Those are great answers. I love it. I second all of those. To add to it a little bit, I kind of think that there's a lot of different styles of leadership, and a lot of them can be successful in their own ways. So I think that kind of leading from your strengths and knowing what you can bring very well to a team, and just kind of leaning into that, not necessarily what someone says you need to do or be or anything like that, but then kind of on the flip side, allowing people who complement maybe your weaknesses and allowing them to contribute their strengths to the team too, and just kind of having that mesh. I think being generous with your time and attention is something that's really valuable to leadership, to help kind of be in tune with the team and just kind of know individually what they may need, or as a collective team, and just really giving yourself to them. Servant leadership kind of goes along with that. And clear communication is one for me. Like, expectations can't be met if you can't explain very clearly what you want from your team, or what you don't want to see, and just kind of communicating that vision or steps that need to be done, or anything along those lines.
Absolutely. Those were great answers. And I agree with all of it. Sometimes a leader has to be a chameleon, depending on what the situation is and what you bring to the table. So absolutely fantastic. So Brittany, we're going to start with you. We're on a roll with you. So how has the industry changed since you first entered it, particularly for women?
It's so easy to just have like tunnel vision on like your own journey, and like, this is what I've gone through. And so trying to step back and like look at it from a whole 10 years of collective, where did I start? How's it changed? I definitely feel like I'm surrounded by more women in the workplace, just kind of in general. And maybe that has a little bit to do with my previous roles were kind of more connected to the sales teams, which is usually a team of men, male dominated. And now I'm closer to a customer service team. But I see a lot more women in leadership positions too, in general. So just having some more role models in that aspect. I also have noticed like a lot more female RV owners, like a lot more visibility, a lot more community, a lot more like seeing women who will go out there with RV and just solo road trip. And I think it's amazing and inspiring. So just getting to see more of that too on that side of it has been really cool.
Yeah. How about you, Kelly?
So when I first started, I was one of the very few women that got invited to certain meetings. And so I would say as an industry, not only my own journey, but we're seeing a lot more women involved at higher levels of decision making. And the fact that we're now able to identify other role models and mentors in the industry, where before that communication was very difficult and the kind of siloed. So I would say that, in general, just involvement of women more frequently in more areas in our industry has changed dramatically.
Yeah. And Michelle, I'm going to twist it just a little bit because you only have a year's experience, but because you come in from a different industry, other industries, how do you think we compare to other industries in, the mix, let's say?
It's really interesting. I think RV is very similar in my mind to transportation. Transportation historically is fairly male dominant. I think third-party logistics is right there with it, as well as insurance. I think insurance is similar in that, like you were saying, Kelly, like customer service, or Brittany, I'm sorry, but like in insurance, customer service tended to be more female, but the producers, the salespeople, I think it was you, Brittany, that's all predominantly male. So I think because of the industries I've chosen to be in, it feels somewhat similar, but I think they all have been on a great journey. They all have evolved to a place where, I'm on an executive team where 2 of the 5 of us are females. I'm proud to be part of a company that has strong, intelligent, incredibly inspiring female leaders across the company. And I think that just shows and demonstrates that, again, there's role models, there's mentors, there's people who can bring everyone else along with them and continue to support bringing other females into these roles that haven't always been female dominant.
Yeah, I think that visual path, right?
Yes.
Where there was not that visual path before, now we're starting to see it, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what are your thoughts on the biggest challenge facing the industry or field today? And we're going to start this one off with Kelly.
I think one of the obvious ones is, people are worried about the amount of sales and unit selling right now. But for me, I think that our biggest challenge is being behind the times in some of our technology and being able to service our customers better. With my focus being customer service, I look at all of the larger industries that have a lot more ways for customers to be able to interact with with their representatives, and I think we're still very limited on that as an industry. We haven't gotten that technology or that technology boost that a lot of the other like auto manufacturers or other manufacturers have, and so it really puts a damper on the way that we can serve our customers, whether they're dealers, retail customers, and anything like that. So I think that is one of the challenges. But most people would probably say sales. I would also lean maybe towards quality a little bit as an industry, because we tend to have not the same standards as like an auto manufacturer. But I think we're all moving in the right direction when it comes to that. but we still got a lot of work to do.
No, those were great answers. Yeah, I agree. It's not always just the sales. How about
And
you, Michelle?
It's
Oh.
funny how much we get compared, the RV industry gets compared to the auto industry. It just like, it makes me laugh, but
Yeah,
so,
no, go ahead.
sorry.
Keep on going. Well, then we'll go to Michelle. But yeah, no, there's a lot of similarities to it. Yeah, but we're unique.
Yes.
So Brittany, go ahead and answer the same question. What are your thoughts on the biggest challenges, facing the industry or field today?
Yeah, I think for this one, I was kind of leaning towards the quality one. I think that was one that's been relevant in my world, and just quality and accountability. And I think there's a lot more like full-time RVers these days, and it comes with a lot more and a lot higher expectations as far as product and having an RV that can maintain and keep up with their full-time RV lifestyle, as well as like service and finding reliable dealerships and quick turnaround times and fast responses, as far as and good warranties and all of that. So just kind of like having that all around customer centric mindset of like, and all the social media pressure. I mean, there's so many ways for them to just kind of pour out their experiences, good, bad, and otherwise, and just being able to absorb a lot of that and being willing to make changes that can strive towards those expectations. And I think customer service and being customer centric and keeping them first in mind is gonna be the key for a lot of OEMs going forward.
Absolutely. And I have a question on that. And as our audience is out there, if you have questions throughout this, you can just put them in the sidebar in the chat channel and we'll get to them definitely. So on an RV, I was always told, they're not meant to be lived in full time. So sometimes those expectations of I'm going to go out and live in them full time isn't met because they're not built. I mean, they're going down the road and they're bouncing down the road, and you just can't build something that's going to take that kind of beating over and over again 365 days a year. Am I wrong? Is that
Definitely not wrong. I mean, and that's always been the go-to answer is like these are not built for full time. But again, I think this is the customer pressuring to make a better RV because they want to full time. And I know Brinkley has started out with a full-time warranty. Like we do accept that you are a full-timer, and we factor that into our processes. So you are absolutely correct. And it's harder for them to be full-time. It's harder on the unit when they're full-time. But I think that's just an example of like what we're seeing in the industry of how they're using it and what they want, and then trying to adapt and make those changes to accommodate what they want.
it's evolving?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How about you, Michelle? What do you see? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with everything Kelly and Brittany already said. I think those are challenges that are facing the industry. I think the area I would kind of also add to it is technology certainly was already mentioned, but I think as we evolve technology and we have better information and more timely data, I think we just have to get better at adapting more quickly to the changes that we see in the industry, whether it's consumer demand or economic conditions. Some of those things are out of our control, but being able to see more clearly down the road and be able to use data to predict things, I think is an opportunity that could face some of these challenges a little easier if we had a little more information to go on or be able to plan further down the road.
Yeah, it's a tough industry. Like you said, it's that cyclical,
Right.
roller coaster ride that we always seem to be on, and it's very difficult. So, okay, Brittany, what habits or routines have helped you successfully juggle professional and personal commitments?
This is a tricky one. And I read this and I said, habits and routines, it sounds so regimented. And I don't know that I have anything that's super consistent per se, but my favorite go-to when I'm trying to just juggle life in general is my health. I think anytime where I'm in a position where I'm feeling really emotional or like things are not going well, I can usually tie it back to I haven't been taking care of myself, very well because when I make the time to exercise and I feed myself in healthy ways, I'm more equipped to handle any ups and downs that may come along the line. So it's not necessarily that I'm always on top of my health, but that's kind of my, if I'm in a tough place, I can usually tie it to how I'm doing, taking care of myself. So that's my favorite one to check in on.
Absolutely. You got to feed the engine.
Yeah.
So how about you, Michelle?
My habit is being an insufferable planner, and ask my kids, ask my husband, ask my team. I'm planning all the time. Every part of my life is planned. Part of it is because I know things don't always go to plan. And if I at least have a starting point, like this is how I want the day to go, it's easier to then adapt. Certainly there's always pivoting and plan Bs and Cs and all of that, but I don't go into a vacation or a day or a meeting without a plan. And I think that preparation helps me adapt and it helps me juggle life. I probably don't go to like the noon workout at the gym if it's not listed on my calendar as something I have to do that day. So I know myself and I know that that helps me. Having that routine and that habit of being a planner helps me execute better because I'm ready for plan A, B, or C.
Absolutely. How about you, Kelly?
Well, I'm just going to admit 100% that I've done a horrible job of balancing or juggling. So most of the time I would put work before personal commitments, and I learned that that I should not be doing that. It was a tough lesson to learn. Let's just say that. But I would say that over the last probably 6 months or so, I've been doing a much better job of juggling the two and trying to find that balance. One of the biggest things that I think has been important for me the last 6 months is setting boundaries. So I used to volunteer for so much for work that I would overcommit myself, and then I'd be stressed, and that's when like work would overtake my home life. And so really being able to excuse me, set those boundaries and say no, even though I want to do all the things, being able to have that has allowed me to be a little more successful and more relaxed over the last 6 months.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm not good at any of that stuff. So some may call me a little bit of a workaholic and not a lot of personal time. So you guys inspire me. I need to start planning more, take care of my body more, and yeah, set boundaries. Okay, got it. So Michelle, how do you mentor or support other women in the industry, and how can women best support each other?
You know, I think when I thought about this question, the first thing that comes to mind for me is active celebration. Like when things happen and people do great things, we have to consciously take the time to celebrate that. And when we see other women doing incredible things, it's so important to be a supporter of other women as women ourselves. And I think that active celebration, the conscious celebration of things highlights the work people are doing, which then elevates visibility to everyone across your business or beyond your business if you're using social media to brag about it. Secondly, I think creating networks of people, like building your own network, expanding your own network, and giving back within your network. I would certainly not be in the role I am in today if I didn't have other women who supported me along the way, who mentored me. And I am just so committed to giving back. Like, I want to help everyone else the way I was helped. And I just think having that mentality of having the network, spending time cultivating and committing to your network, and then giving back and being available and accessible to people who need your help.
Fantastic. How about you, Kelly?
I would say that, so one of the things I think that has been successful for me to support and mentor women is participating just in anything and then pulling people along with me. So if I see something great or get involved in something great, I'm going to share it and make sure that other women are involved in that. And then the other thing I would also say is to support each other. Yes, I love the active celebration, but also actively challenging each other and like trying to get that person to rise to be the best version of themselves and be able to have the tools to move along in their career. And I would also encourage them to not sit back on the sidelines. So sometimes as women, we tend to like kind of be a little more reserved and want to, hold off on maybe being the first one out there. So just being able to get out there and do your thing and kind of be like, there's a great video that they show in this customer service revolution training that we've done. And it's this guy out on the hill and he's kind of like all crazy dancing on his own. But like when you do that, you start pulling people along. They're like, hey, that guy's maybe not so crazy. And you get more and more people to join. And then all of a sudden you've got this, big celebration or group of people who are doing the same thing. And so I think it's really just a matter of making sure you get involved, pull people along with you and challenge them.
Excellent. How about you, Brittany?
Good stuff. This is such a good question too. Something fun that I've started working on that isn't still in very early ideation proposal kind of stages is I'm trying to bring together a Women of Brinkley group within our industry, which will kind of reflect RVWA, but have a more niche kind of group and mission and figure out what we can do, the women who are here, to support each other and just make a community where we can rely on each other. There's just so many like benefits, and it's just one of these ideas that I feel it in my ribcage. It just feels so good to like, and it's me starting it, but I can't wait to get people on board and it become a group thing and a group effort. So something I'm excited. I was inspired and someone caught on to my inspiration and connected me with someone else who's done something similar at another company, and she gave me tons of great resources and ideas and direction and support. And so it's just been like something that's grabbing on a little bit here and there. So I'm hoping that becomes a thing, and hopefully we can figure out how to support each other even more. I think just in generally speaking, I think empathy is a big way to support each other. I think that community over competition, like it's so easy to think about your own career track and like trying to hang with everyone and be dog eat dog. But I think kind of taking a step back to understand where someone else is coming from or where they're trying to go and how you can work together and complement each other work wise, not just necessarily verbal compliments, but like and just kind of embracing that community and embracing the conversations and listening to people, active listening and supporting, and not just being that tunnel vision all the time. So I think there's a lot we can do there.
Well, and Brittany, it only takes one to start the ball rolling, right?
For
So we're
sure.
gonna come up with the idea and actually have the audacity, or not audacity, but the enthusiasm to continue it and the work that it goes into, and it just explodes from there. And that's how RVWA started. I mean, it just came up with one idea and one person that came into a group, and the group grew, and here we are today. So it's very commendable. And I do have to say about this industry as a whole, I think every networking event we've ever had and that type of thing, I find the women and the men of our champions that come together tend to inspire one another, right? It's not like other industries where it could be very backbiting. I mean, not to say we're not trying to climb that ladder, but I think you find so much more support within our industry because it is such tight knit and more of a family feel to it than, if you were in pharmaceuticals or I don't know, some of the other ones that are a little bit harder to get into and to get to where you need to be. Whereas here, I think people are always, if you say you're trying to do something, there's always like 5 people that says, oh, I can help you there, or I can give you advice. And networking is a great way of doing that, or small communities within your companies is really, really fantastic. So yeah, it's something that I think our VWA and companies are very passionate about doing is, and Michelle, you said it earlier about, having those higher ups that are women role models and show the path, right? And then having that community to help you get up that path. So fantastic. I'm going to jump around a little bit here with different questions. So I'm going to, and since Brittany came up with this idea to do that at Brinkley, what legacy would you like to leave behind in your role?
Oh man. That's a tough question. I know that I want to use my gifts, which to me is I have a lot of empathy. I think that's a gift. I used to think of it as a weakness for a long time, but I think it's really one of my stronger suits. And just kind of a creative vision thinker. I'm a graphic designer by trade, and just having that dream mentality. I'd love to like come up with ideas and try and put them out into the world and see what happens. So I want to use those gifts together to bring value to people around me. So that includes my team members, my coworkers, but also our ownership community, the Brinkley owners, and our Facebook groups, and just trying to leave as much value as I can.
Excellent answer. So Michelle, I'm going to ask you, how do you keep learning and growing in your role? Especially after 30 years. I mean, you're like me, you've been in your role for a very long time. So,
Well, I think my whole approach, my whole career has been realizing that I don't know everything and that I have so much more to learn. I think it was, especially joining a new industry. I mean, that was really the hugest opportunity for me to learn so many things for the first time. But I try to approach every conversation, every interaction with other people that I have something I can learn from them. And so this thought process of, wow, I'm going to go into this, I'm sure all of these folks who I'm in this meeting with or this interaction with know something that I don't know, and how can I learn it? So I think part of it is the thought process you go into when you meet people or you work with people is always approaching it like you have something to learn. And I just don't think I'm the leader yet that I want to be. So I think also trying to always strive to be better is what I try to do. And I think that then creates this growth mindset that I'm always looking to grow and learn. And I hope that that rubs off on other people too, because there really is so much to offer from other people, but we have to be open to it.
I agree. And you being a role model in your field, you being open to learning and admitting to others that you don't know everything, I think opens it up for other people, because I think some people come in thinking they know it all or afraid to show, they think it's a weakness. To me, I think it's a strength, and so people learning that way, I hope to God I learn to the day I die, because with RVWA, the major thing I get from it is getting to know such incredible people. And not only that, learning so much from them. Oh my, I've learned so much from even you guys today. I mean, it's a constant evolution of my skills, and my knowledge is just soaking it in from others. My problem is my sponge in my brain is like, needs a little more wetness or something, because it stopped absorbing a little bit. So with age, maybe, I don't know. So Kelly, this is going to be an off the cuff. What is the funniest or most unexpected things that has happened to you while working in this industry?
Oh gosh. I would say probably the friendships that I've gained. I mean, there's been there's so many, gosh. I mean, I'm just thinking of all the crazy things that we used to do when I worked at Rockwood. We had such a great group of women, and we used to, I mean, the day was always lighthearted, and we were able to connect with each other. So I mean, I can't even name a single incident because there was just so many, but it's the stories that you hear from each other, and just how you can really change people's lives by just the connections that you have at work. And so I mean, unfortunately, I don't have a specific thing, but I would say it's those women, those even other people in the department, men, it's really those connections and those moments of when you have to be a little silly in order to get through the day. And so you might be running around down the hallway and screaming and yelling, or we might be doing an enthusiasm, a little exercise, and we all sound like we're crazy in the hallway, but it's really those connections.
Yeah, it's okay to scream down the hallway as long as you're not screaming
Absolutely.
or something like that. Then it can get a little crazy. But
Yes.
yeah, you got to laugh. You got to have a little bit more fun during your day because it can be very exhausting. Which brings me to the next questions. So we'll go back to Brittany. How do you recharge after a busy season or a major project that has just exhausted you?
I nap a lot. Kind of goes back to tying into the health stuff. I mean, if something was an especially busy season or time frame, like I'm probably exhausted. And so allowing myself to rest appropriately, whatever that means at that time. So it might be more sleep, some getting back to exercising, feeding my body and myself well, to pick back up and have another great season. And allowing myself to do something different. A different hobby, a different, give myself permission to do something that's other than work or, all my life duties, like allow myself to read a book or allow myself to work on a project or put a puzzle together or something, just something that's like my brain can check out and do something a little softer to recover from that time.
Yeah, I think this is a question I'm going to give to all of you. How about you, Michelle?
I really liked how Brittany ended with the read a book. In human resources, it's just natural. We're around people all the time and working on things relative to our people. And I think I'm sort of a closet introvert where you have to be extroverted so much of the day. And you put so much into these projects and these, initiatives that I think I just want to go into a dark room, close the door, and just be alone because that helps me recharge my battery. Reading a book by myself, those things, you just have to know yourself and know what it is that does recharge your battery and make sure you make the time for it.
Kelly?
Yeah, I would also say that, depending on the situation, you recharge differently after certain things. So it might include exercising, it might include journaling, it might include reading, it might be going out with your friends and just kind of letting loose a little bit. It really just depends on where you're at and what you've got going on. So I would say a combination of those or, something a little more specific that would help. I personally love massages, so that's my recharge.
Love it.
I'm right there with you. I just can't afford them all the time. They can get quite expensive.
Yes, I wish I could do it every week, honestly, but can't quite do that.
I'm going to go if anybody has any questions, we do have, I think, let's see. We have Jeff on here says, this is a great discussion. All of you talk about supporting others in the industry, both inside your company and others outside your company. Do you ever talk about supporting the buyer of your products? And how can we do better to support their needs and problems they have?
Can I take that one?
That's a question for you.
I didn't hear you, Susan.
Who?
Kelly.
Oh, sorry. So I would say something that Forest Rivers has been doing is that we are trying to improve quality, and which I'm sure every OEM is doing that, so that we don't have to do so much support to the end customer. But we realize that there's definitely going to be needs for that. So one of the things that we've been doing is improving our customer service, trying to make sure that our employees have the resources to answer questions quickly and also be able to handle some difficult conversations that have to happen with retail customers and know that we are backing our product and can help them the best way that we know how. We've developed some testing of components to make sure that we're putting in good product into our units. But really, I think one of the biggest impacts that we'll probably see within the next year or so is the shift of our marketing department to start looking at the end customer, because so many times we've always been known as the quiet company. So we kind of like run under the radar. But with our new marketing director, we're really going to start focusing on meeting those, like knowing what the needs are first and then trying to meet those needs, because sometimes we don't have that knowledge. We think we know what those customers need, but we really don't, because we're not focused on them as much as we probably should be.
Yeah, I agree. So outside of the Midwest, I have a question. Is there opportunity to work in the industry? So absolutely. There's dealerships throughout the country. There's OEMs throughout the country. You know, in your there's on the West Coast and the Midwest and campgrounds. Our industry is not just in Elkhart, Indiana, believe it or not. It's just where a majority of these things are made. Nancy has asked a question. You mentioned the industry could benefit a new technology. If you could choose one advancement, what would it be? Not sure who wants to take that one.
I'll start. You know, part of my responsibilities include safety. So I think the biggest thing we can do is invest in automation or things that could make the job for our frontline folks safer. I just really feel strongly that we have to make sure our folks go home in the same way they came in every day and the safest way possible to build, you know, all of the equipment that we build. So automation would help that, or finding ways to make what they do easier, safer, less lifting, all of the things. Better power tools or safer power tools, all the things. I think that's an area where we can never stop trying to improve.
That is a great answer. And she even somebody put a little heart emoji next to that one. So good answer. Let's see, we've got 2 minutes left. Anything else you wonderful ladies would add to discussions to anybody out here listening about your career, or any advice you'd like to leave with?
I'd be happy to say one thing that I came into this industry with was a very black and white mindset. I've always been a rule follower, and you know, I'm also a little OCD and probably a perfectionist, and so like I expected coming into this industry for things to be very like, here's the rule, this is what you do, and all of that. Boy, did I get a rude awakening within the first couple of years of this. And so like, as I've grown in the industry, I've also realized that I need to be a lot more flexible and kind of see in those gray areas, especially when you're coming to customer service type jobs. So I would say if I give anyone advice, it would be to be flexible and be able to see that gray. Nothing is ever black and white.
Oh, great. Michelle?
Go ahead.
I'm sure there's a lot of folks who are on this call that maybe are at different stages in their career. And I think some advice that I received early in my career that I often will share with others is run to the smoke. I can't take credit for this quote, but it's a quote that resonates with me. There's going to be crises. There's going to be scenarios where things go wrong, and fight the urge to run away from it. Force yourself to go to the smoke, because you are going to get challenged. You're going to do things that you didn't know you were capable of. You're going to grow, you're going to learn, and you're going to be someone that people look to when things are in crisis, because you'll have those muscles of dealing with those difficult things. And the better you are at dealing with those things, the more trajectory your career can have, because you have those muscles. So don't shy away from where the smoke is. Go towards it and offer to help with whatever's going on, and it's going to serve you well in your career.
Wow, fantastic. Brittany?
Good stuff. I think my advice would be to never stop learning, which is, I mean, we've talked about that a little bit here today. Just always learning about the industry, learning about your business, like your company, your business, their goals and stuff. I think there's a lot to learn there. Also learning about yourself and your own strengths and weaknesses and ways you can always continue to improve and continue to contribute and continue to grow. My secondary layer of advice would be to camp. Go RVing, go camp, go use the units, go experience what our customers are experiencing, and just kind of immerse yourself in that world for a little bit, and you might find that you love it. It's kind of addicting. So.
Yes, it is. Well, that ends our time here today. I can't thank Kelly, Michelle, and Brittany, all of you wonderful ladies, enough for your insight and your words today. They were fantastic. I appreciate everybody who attended. If you have somebody who wants to watch us, it will be online probably by tomorrow, and you can watch it on our YouTube channel. In the meantime, thank you ladies again, and have a great week, and I appreciate everybody.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Okay, bye-bye.